Hey y'all, it's your girl Sia, and I'm back with another video, y'all. So today I wanted to touch bases a little bit on my previous video, Why I'm Single, Part 2, Part 1. I wanted to do this because, again, I think it's just, everybody's kind of talking about why they're single. And because I do talk about relationships in a way on this channel, I just wanted to touch on this as much as possible, especially considering like it's a new year for me, new age, stuff like that. Um, so here's the deal, you guys. Let me see how much gas I got. Give me 1 second. Okay, I got enough. I'm actually headed into the office. I'm not late, but I mean, I'm running later than I usually am in the morning. So just bear with me, you guys. Um, but part of the reason I was thinking about this yesterday because I kind of came across a scenario where a black man, very interesting because he lives like right across the way from me, and really not my type of guy. Very like I thought he was Muslim, to be honest with you, which that's neither here nor there. But the way that he carries himself sometimes, I thought he was a bit Muslim. But I don't really engage in conversation. One thing about me is I don't shit where I sleep. So I'm not interested in building a relationship with anyone that close in proximity to me. However, I was going out to take out the trash, and my daughter was with me, and I ran into the man who happened to have a much younger Spanish girl with him. And it was almost like you could tell it was a nightcap kind of thing. I could be totally wrong, but that's how it appeared. And she was getting off, in an Uber or whatever, and he was walking her to her car. Which, I'm going to be honest, that shit made me laugh inside because I was like, thank God it ain't a sister, right? If y'all want to dog out these so-called preferences, by all means, please do. I'm just sick and tired of seeing black women lose as a result of. But anywho, I thought to myself, because I was like, oh, he didn't strike me as the type of black man that dated outside of his race. And I said that he's Muslim for a reason, because a lot of Muslim men that I know, they date black women. They're married to black women. So it was just a bit weird, right? And so no shade, no judging, right? I mean, obviously, if that's what he likes, that's what he likes. But that man is obviously a lot older than me, right? And so I was thinking, like, this is part of the reason why I believe I'm single is because I'm in a state where black men really don't fuck with black women. A lot of black couples, oh, I'm sitting out here like it's a stoplight. A lot of black couples that are here moved here. You understand? It's not like black men out here. You'll find more black males with white women, more black men with Spanish men or Spanish women, excuse me. And then they're either gay, right? You only have a handful that are really marriage material out here. And so this is a really difficult place to find, quote unquote, black love, right? This is the space where I had my first interracial relationship. Obviously, I date, all types, black included. And I know men like to say we throw you away when you go crossover, but that's never actually happened with me. So I don't know. But what I will say is a lot of black men, like I remember back in, was it 2017 or 18? My friend and I went out to a club. She's definitely more hood in terms of her behavior than I am. And we were beautiful women, right? None of the men were checking for us. They were checking for Becky, Susie, and Clara, okay? So I learned a very long time ago something that I think the dynamics here in this state have kind of taught me is that I'm not the black man's preference. Even though my skin color matches his, I'm not his preference. And something that part of that self-love journey at my age in my life is recognizing when you're just not compatible with someone. If I'm not your preference, right? I damn sure ain't gonna try to change me and do a whole bunch of stuff to try to get you to like me, because I already know it doesn't matter. I'm not the girl you really want to be with. So as a black woman, I've kind of taken what black men have done, and taken it for what it is, right? I'm not here to convince you that I'm your type. I don't care that you think I'm not your type. And I acknowledge that I'm not your type. That's another thing. So I will never be the girl that's in a man's face, right? Trying to seek him to get him to like me. That's ridiculous, and unfortunately you have a lot of black women that they do not acknowledge that they're not black men's preferences. The Spanish girl is, the white girl is, because I was even thinking, like, I was curious because in my head, I'm like, hold up. So y'all complain about bums and chicks that don't have shit, right? But this man has not approached me, not even so much to say hi, and I've made it clear that I don't want him to approach me because I don't really, if as a black woman, how I see this is if you don't fuck with me, I don't fuck with you, right? So if you're the black man that's like, oh, I don't like black women, you and I will never speak. There's no such thing as friendship, communication. Like, I don't fuck with black men who don't like black women. I think that that's very strange behavior. That's just me. That's just, my experience. But I naturally don't fuck with black men anyway. Like, how I see it is, as a man, if you're not strong enough to approach me, you're not for me, right? So I don't really, and then I get the black men that are fucking, they don't fit my life at all. And it's like, I'm really not talking or entertaining that. Like, I'm not, right? But I was thinking to myself, not that, again, it's not that it's a big deal for me, right? I don't really care. But I'm like, dude, so I know I'm a pretty woman. I could care less what the Spanish girl got or don't got, right? So I'm looking at it like, so you would much rather have a woman that you've got to call an Uber for, that you have to walk out, not to her car, but some piece of shit car. Because it was, excuse me, it was a piece of shit Uber. If it wasn't an Uber, it was a friend. But either way, like, the girl didn't even have her own car. And to me, that's what y'all are chasing after? She looked young, not maybe too much younger than me, really, but she did look young. And you could tell that it was a nightcap. You could tell that she was there for one purpose. It was obvious. So like I've said, you guys, I don't put myself in situations where I don't understand the logic, right? I'm not going to dim myself for a man. I'm not going to stop everything that I'm doing just to say I have a man. And if that offends men, then that's on them, right? That's a personal issue. It has nothing to do with me. But outside of that, I am no longer giving to people who do not give in return, meaning that if I know that you would much rather, in your mind, your energy is best well spent elsewhere, that's what I'm going to let you do, I'm not the girl that gives a fuck about trying to convince you that I'm a good woman. Like, either you value me or you don't. And I think with a lot of men's actions, especially black men, when you're out there and you're dating, whatever, who you're dating says a lot about you, right? It wouldn't even matter. It's not so much about race as much as it is. I mean, it's about what you are compatible with and what you see yourself being compatible with. So if all day long I see black women with plain Janes, because they are plain, they're not like, some white women I see, I'm like, okay, you pretty. But it's not all of them, okay? when I see these things as a black woman, I take it for what it is. Oh, somebody's got to get their dog. Somebody's got to get that puppy. Fuck. Sorry, y'all. I would have pulled over if I had time. There's just a dog running out in the middle of the road. Like, somebody's got to call on that dog. That's crazy. It's a nice dog, but you could tell it got out or got away or something. It's just running in the middle of the road. It's lucky it's a dog. It's got privileges, too. But hopefully, when you're dealing with white people, hopefully somebody will get out and get the dog. I've had that happen, and I'm the girl that will pull over to let somebody know the dog is running, but I don't have time today. But yeah, I live in a city where it's obvious black men do not love or respect black women. It's not a question, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if that's their preference and that's how they choose to roll, then that's cool, There's nothing wrong with that. But then as a black woman, I have to acknowledge that I am not the preference. And therefore, that means I mean, already I'm not going above and beyond to prove my value or my worth. But especially if I'm being told I'm not the preference and or being shown that I'm not the preference, I'm going to take it for what it is. I'm not going to sit around and argue and try to convince you that I should be your preference. I assume that I'm black and you don't like me. That's part of the reason why marriage for me is not really a big deal. Obviously, having kids is not really a thing for me because I'm not willing to have kids with a man that don't value me and doesn't respect me. That's all you're going to show my kid at the end of the day. So I just, I think that plays into a lot of why I'm single, is realizing that these are the times that we're in, and really making the most of it, So I was just, again, it just was one of those things where I saw it, and let me tell you, I don't have respect with a man that dates younger women, especially when a man is like 40, 50-something years old, or he obviously looks that age. So naturally, when I saw this man, I had to put my head down. At this point, he is now someone who is officially invisible to me as a black woman, right? As a black woman that is aware of my surroundings, that motherfucker is invisible. I don't do traitors in that way. Like men that, one, you're all too old to be hanging out with girls younger than me. That's number one. It says a lot about you and your maturity level, which means that off the rip, you're not somebody that even for me to even be looking at, acknowledging, nothing. So that's primarily why I'm single. I think that's the biggest reason of it all, is just where I'm at, where I'm located. And I know that this ideology, and let me be clear, because I do date outside of my race, right? I'm not really willing to date people who don't have a history with black women. I've got a ton of men outside of my race that are interested in me. The problem, though, is it's like, why are you interested in me? Are you just interested for the sake of your fetish? Because I got a man right now that wants to be in my life, and he keeps asking me, when am I going to change my mind? But when I look at all his pictures, I'm like, you've never had a black person in your life. But for some odd reason, you think that I'm just going to make this change in my life to appease your one-time fetish? Like, I don't understand white men like that. Like, you ain't never married a black woman. You don't have black people in your family. When you're taking pictures, it's never with anybody of color, ever. But then all of a sudden you want me to believe that you woke up one day and now all of a sudden you want a black girl. Like, I'm not that girl for that fantasy. It's different. Like, my old roommate had daughters. He had black daughters. So that's a little different. But for people that don't have any black whatsoever on their timeline, and you talking about you want me to choose you and figure out when. And the man was like, I'm about to sell my company and I'm gonna retire. He's probably got some money. He's from Texas. But then I keep thinking about, well, I don't want to end up dead. Like, I don't want to end up hung on a tree somewhere. You know, that's just where I'm at. I don't want to have to go through no unnecessary situations that I shouldn't have to go through simply because a man is feeling like he want to go chocolate today, but really ain't never had no chocolate. See, white people think that I don't understand that we've got differences in cultures. We are very different types of people. And I notice the differences when I'm put in all white spaces. Not that I can't hang, but I hate it. So I don't know about dating men outside of my race in that regards. Like, if you've never dated a black woman, like, you're not convincing me, bro, that all of a sudden you wake up, you're divorced, and you want a black girl. Like, I don't see, I don't see that being advantageous to me. Now, maybe the money, but what comes with the money, right? Because any time an older man approaches me off the rip, you better have some money. There's no need for me to be with you. And folks can say, well, you're 34 and you hit the wall. Not technically speaking, I didn't hit the wall. That's just according to men who, like to shame women and want to control women and manipulate women. I can still have kids by the grace of God. I don't know that there's not been a man that's made me say, yes, I want another kid. you know? So I'm single a lot by choice and because I'm picky. And I feel like some of the things I ask for, I'm not picky in the sense that, oh, well, you got like, I'm picky where it makes fucking sense. And I live in a state, like I said, I do see that if I stayed here long enough, I would end up with a white man. I could easily see that just because of my mental. What is that, a traffic stop? Maybe that's a traffic count. I don't know, but I don't know what that was. Sorry, police. Um, but then again, I don't see myself with a white man either. I see myself more with like a Spanish man or something. I don't know. But I don't see the days of my thoughts and my wanting and wanting all black kids and y'all, them days is done for me. I gave up on that shit, what, 3 or 4 years ago? So, and for me, it's not on me to keep the faith alive if I've got nothing to show but pattern and facts to establish why I think the way I think and why I am the way that I am. So that's just a reflective thing, y'all. Yesterday, it really did hit me. I said, oh, that's why I'm single. Because I don't understand. Again, there's certain things I just will never understand, and that's okay. It ain't meant for me to understand. What is meant for me to do is accept what is. So I've accepted black males' pattern of behavior, right? I've accepted that I'm not the girl for them, that they would much rather have Becky and, Lupita than me, okay? And I'm okay with that. I think that once you accept the reality for what it is and quit trying to make it be something different, you begin to learn that the only person you really got in this world is you. And I could either spend my time being miserable and unhappy because I ain't got no man that doesn't already prefer me anyway in my life, right? Or I could just do what is necessary to change my programming and do what makes me happy and fulfill my own destiny, right? And fulfill what God has made and ordained for me. And something y'all don't understand is when God ordains something in your life, it's going to happen. Meaning that it wouldn't matter if it took you to 40, 50 years old to make something happen. It's going to happen. So that's where I'm at, y'all. I think that my happiness is a much more bigger, but it's something that I can fulfill. I think that when I was in relationships, I was looking at relationships as a means to make me happy instead of filling the void for myself. And now, something I really believe, I've heard men say this and women say this. Relationships are for people who are broke and don't got shit going on for themselves or bored with their lives, right? That's another thing. And I'm in a space, y'all, right now where I do love my life, man. I can't afford no more else. Sorry, Tesla, you getting behind me, my friend. Tesla's only gonna slow me down. You can honk, but I don't have to stop for you just because you a Tesla. I'm sorry. We don't respect Teslas around these parts. But that's all I gotta say. The Tesla had the nerve to honk. Bitch, race me to Vegas and honk again. Shoot. You can get behind me just because you a Tesla. Don't make you BMW status. I know people like to believe that or whatever. But I'm not a fan of Tesla cars. So they get behind me always. As long as they going slow, Tesla is faster than my car. So if it don't know how to merge, that's on them. Ain't my problem. So, anywho, that's all I gotta say on the matter, y'all. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. Like I said, I'm not a woman that believes like if I leave tomorrow things will change. I'm not really looking for a relationship. I'm not. So at this point in my life, like I said, I believe I'm single by choice, and I believe that there's a lot of things that factor into my decisions, right? Um, but the interracial dating thing, again, I don't care if you date interracially. But I do notice when you live in a state that has a very small population of black people and a very large population of white people, you can only help but to notice what it is, right? So that's all I got to say on the matter, y'all. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. With that being said, I'm out. Peace.